Coming to you from the Stream.TV studios in Hollywood, California, Pensado's Place is brought to you by Vintage King, Avid, Recording Connection, and the Blackbird Academy.
It has been an intense week. We've got winners, we've got prizes, we've got lots of good stuff. You're at the place, baby, it's Pensado's Place.
Yay! Hey everybody, glad to see you guys. It's been a really fun-filled week. Everything in music that's near and dear to my heart happened this week.
Pretty much, and happened to us, it seemed like, right?
And then we'll get to a couple other things a little bit later, just some real special things going on. But man, great to be back.
Shall we crank it up?
Let's do it.
All righty. Guys, it's great to see you again. Hope you are well. We are coming off a really intense week with both the NAMM convention and the Grammys, or as our man Chevy called it, NAMMY Week. More on that in a moment. Continue to like and subscribe. You've been so generous in doing that. It is uber effective and allows us to do more for you. Thank you so much. Shout out real quickly to the Pensado students. You know, that is the student group of which they use our name and they manage it themselves. Last time I looked, there were 3,000 of them. As of NAMM, there are almost 8,000. Unbelievable. This is a self-regulated group of smart people. A great place for you to join an audio community, get your questions answered, and be part of something that has a positive effect moving forward. Proud of you guys. Dave and I are extremely proud of what you've done. Extremely proud to lend his name and our show's name to what you're doing.
Herb, the thing I like the most is it embodies what, in my heart, I think this show's about. Sharing, giving, answering questions you know the answer to, being polite to people that are less along the way than you are. You guys are doing a great job. We love you, and we've got a lot of little special things planned for you in the future, so hang with us for a minute.
And the future's really close. As I promised you at NAMM, Google Hangout coming very soon. As I also promised you at NAMM, we're bringing you down to have some discussions about what we're doing going forward. Great job. To our fabulous partners, Vintage King, what's up? You know we love you. Thanks for all you do. Good stuff in the works with them and the Neighbor Brothers, and Chevy and Leslie and Tommy Memrath and all of our boys. Avid, honestly, you just kicked tail at NAMM.
They did, yeah.
They absolutely kicked tail.
Well, we did too.
Well, no. Listen, that's a given. No. Plain and simple, your tech team is really amongst the best. Yeah. Aaron, Anthony, Cheryl, and the whole team took care of us and solved every problem easily and without drama. The best part is the fire marshal showed up at every day. They actually, by the second day, posted security because the crowds got so moved. The security got overwhelmed.
I'm strapped every day. I don't know why they did that.
I know, because you can just pull out your thing and take care of people in case it gets out of hand.
Then can you clarify that?
No, I won't.
Okay.
No, I'm going to leave that alone. We have guests in the house.
There's multiple ways to run people off.
Exactly. And I can control the editing. So, but anyways, all you folks showed up. And what's wonderful for Dave and I, and also for the Avid people, when you show up like that, that equates to being sold out, right? So we had incredible guests. Ariel Rechtshaid, who is up for Producer of the Year. We had François Tétaz, Gaudier fame. Our buddy and partner in certain things, Manny Mardekin, showed up. And then the incredible Macy Gray. They spent time with us. You're going to see this special today. They're part of it in the second day. I sound a little bit like Kermit the Frog, but it doesn't matter. I think we had a great time, and I think the audience had a great time. We gave away a bunch of invitations to the show, and if they could see some of the illustrious guests that are here today, we'll tell them about it in a second. Oh,
you mentioned Manny. Manny won 3 Grammys.
I know, man.
Fauntleroy won some. Sheps, Al Schmidt.
A lot of our friends.
Andrew Sheps. Emincelli won one. Dave Kutch won one. Ariel, like we said, Rechtshaid. And Mick Guzowski won one.
Mick Guzowski won big.
If I forgot somebody, email me. We'll hit you up next week with a congratulations. We're very proud of our guests.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to our friends for doing well. We're proud of you. Big hello down Nashville way to our Blackbird partners who happen to also be in the house today. John McBride is visiting us. He's back there, and that's why Dave is sweating.
I'm not sweating. I love me some John McBride.
Me too. We both love John McBride. Want to say
John and I have the same DNA, so he knows when I screw up, it's sincere.
Yeah, absolutely. It's from the heart. Hello, Dagny Gorham, our big winner. Thank you for your card. It was very touching. I'm going to show it to Dave later today in the staff meeting. We're going to continue to follow your journey. The flyaway winners are coming in next week. We're going to make sure we shoot that. We'll have film at 11 soon on that, and we're going to show you what's going on there. And I will tell you that Team Blackbird and Team Pensado have their heads together. We're discussing the next cool campaign. And from what Dave and I like to say is the Ivy League of audio education. Isn't that a good way to put it?
I love it.
Yeah.
Or the EdC of audio education.
Same thing. Both Ivy League. So stay tuned for all that. In addition, fabulous response to the Recording Connection campaign and their generous offer. So Dave, do me a favor. Spend a moment kind of on mentorship and what it really means. Like, success isn't being given a golden ticket and you don't have to do any work.
No. Mentorship has different forms. I mentioned EdC mainly because I have so much love and respect for Ed. And mentorship can take different forms. With Ed was just he kind of just gave me the confidence to keep going because I never knew if I was good or not. And Ed kept encouraging me. And when somebody that you respect, that's part of your community, gives you that kind of support, you just feel like, man, maybe I can do this. And then there's the mentorship where you study under someone and they directly teach you concepts and things like that. So it takes various forms, and all of those combinations are needed to make it in the audio world today. Today I think it's a little harder than it used to be, although maybe not, because before there was more people trying to get in, but there's more opportunities, so it probably works out about the same. But if you really want to succeed at this, you got to learn from people that know what they're doing. And that can be at Blackbird, it can be anywhere, it can be Recording Connection. But the most important thing, if you're going to be a cliff diver in Mexico, you got to at some point talk to somebody that's been diving off cliffs, or you're going to miss the tide.
You better believe it.
And so I'm a big believer in studying from people that know what they're talking about.
Let me add one thing to this.
Those relationships go on my entire career.
This is not a business for the entitled. This is a business for people who want to work hard. Our studio right now is filled with people who really operate at the top of their game, from somebody who's currently on American Idol to business moguls to people in public relations who are absolutely killer, to people who put on award shows, and they work hard. They work very, very hard. So if you want to get in this business and you think just because you got into a studio you're cool, you're not for this game. This is something that you got to keep rolling, correct?
I had a young lady that I met recently, and she was upset because she had been out of school 3 weeks and hadn't gotten a job. And I felt that was disrespectful to my myriad of friends that took 5 years to get their first job.
Precisely.
And so I got a little harsh on her. You know who you are. If I upset you, I apologize. But hopefully you'll be challenged by that and understand that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
And we're the Straight Talking Express. So congratulations to these winners. Peter DeWitt, Daniel Munoz, and Talisha Royer. Congratulations. We'll give you a big round of applause. Peter DeWitt and the live audience. Daniel Munoz and Talisha Royer. 3 more next week, more going on. Get your info at Pensado's Place /Recording Connection. Enter there, take advantage of learning where you live. This is a different kind of concept. So this is for folks who may not have the wherewithal, who may not be able to travel. There you get this opportunity to do that. So good for them and good for Brian and the boys there. Couple of quick notes that are important to you. I spoke with our folks this morning. The next shipment of merchandising will arrive your way first week in February. There's been some questions, and there's the answer. So we wanted to do that in a sort of regular sequenced way. Secondly, we've assembled the Pensado's award team. I had the first meeting this week with the team. It's an impressive group of people. The details are coming together. Will Thompson will shortly share all that information with you. Thank you for your patience. Here's really what we're doing. It's extremely, extremely important to Dave and I that we get it right, not get it quick. So we're getting it right. Stay close to us. Go to fundanything.com // Pensado for news about it. You know, that's the watering hole. Your support has been invaluable. We're about to utilize all those producers and people to sign on to help us unpack this thing, and we're going to rock this award show during the spring. Thank you for all your kind words at NAMM, all the support that you gave Dave and I. Team Pensado, you did a great job. Happy for that. And also, another thing that we got done during NAMM, we prepared kind of a very cool super ITL, I would call it, on what goes on behind the scenes at the Grammys before they put on the show. We got an exclusive look backstage at all the tech preparation, the amount of incredible expertise, the choreography and gear it takes to pull off the biggest show in music ever. So give us a week or so for Brian to get that cut up and put together. We'll have some interviews that we did with Alan Parsons and Ross Hogarth and Gavin Lurson and a whole bunch more from the Grammy tent. I'd like to thank Audio Technica, the Grammys P&E wing, Robbie Klein, Lisa Roy, and our boy Chevy. Big ups for making that all possible. We'll be bringing that to you soon.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was a ball. It was a ball. So we got our NAMM special. Dave, why don't you just introduce that, and we'll go to that.
I hate to digress, but I was just remembering when I did live sound for the Grammys. I think it was the year.
Wasn't you two?
I think it was the year. No, I think it was the year. It was the year I did Lady Marmalade.
Okay.
And Ron wanted me to go down there and do live sound, and I looked over to the engineer in the truck next to me. I said, "About how many people are watching this?" He said, "Well, around 1 billion."
He was like, "Oh."
And I've never said this in print, but right before Christina was coming on, her mic went dead.
Ooh. And
I knew I had the bridge before I got to Christina, and somehow it started working.
Thank God.
I lost a lot of years of my life, but my point is it's exciting. If you love audio, it's probably the greatest high you can ever have in audio.
It's seriously intense.
John McBride comes from a live background. I know he knows what I'm talking about. That terror of that first note is like nothing else in audio, and I kind of miss it a little bit, you know.
We had to pull together a package so you could see what we experienced at NAMM. You'll get a chance to get a few great moments with Macy Gray, a few great moments with Monty Marroquin, a few moments with François Tétaz, as well as Ariel Rechtshaid. Was really interesting about the year he's happening. You'll see some B-roll about NAMM and Dave at different booths and going around the craziness of the Avid booth. Enjoy this. I think you'll enjoy. Are you guys all from here or from different places around the country? Mostly here? Mostly LA? Okay,
Toronto.
Cool. Canada, Mexico, we got a few things. We have an incredible guest. I think we should bring him up. What do you think?
I can't wait.
So, Ariel Rechtshaid has had an incredible couple of years, let alone the fact that it took me a lot of practice to get his name right. This coming from a black man named Trawick. That has its own others. And I work with a guy named Pensado. Ariel, can you come up?
Pensado.
Well, one of the things that's most unique about you that I personally love, just in terms of what I listen to, is the diversity of what you produce and write for. I mean, you know, Sky Ferreira to Mickey Echo to, you know,
Usher, Snoop
Lion. It's all over the map.
Yeah.
It's fabulous, though.
Yeah.
And is that a part of your career you want to maintain and keep doing that way?
You know, I think that it came naturally because I sort of have that inspires me to be in a situation that's uncomfortable, you know, and try and like overcome it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't planned out to do all these different kinds of things. It just kind of happened, and I rolled with it, and I love it. You know, I love the challenge, and I love feeling like, you know, that feeling when you're doing something for the first time, and then like after a while you kind of lose that feeling, and like got to get that happening every so often, you know. And so I love that. So that's what I do.
Can you explain? There's a lot of people out here that are pros. There's a lot that want to be pros. Can you explain how, if you can, if you want to skip this question, let me know, how your influences growing up got you to this point? Because I know you love reggae. I know you love, you know, the hippos. You were a little bit of a punk thing going on there.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and do all of these records from urban to rock. And how can they take their influences and turn into a junior version of you?
I mean, I think you just have to, honestly, like, I could go through my influences and sort of like trace back. I mean, I do this retroactively. I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but bands like The Clash that were like playing around with the format, you know, they were going to clubs and hearing reggae music and interpreting it in their own way and doing a great job at it. It's not just about mashing up lots of things. It's about doing it with a purpose, you know what I mean? If it speaks to you, and like just kind of not really feeling bound by any sort of genres, you know, or any rules that like writers put on music or critics put on music or record labels put on music, you know, just like never mind all that, just kind of make music that does all the things that you want it to do. And I mean, yeah, I grew up listening to all this music, you know. I think there's a little bit of a movement right now. I don't know if I have something to do with inspiring it or if I'm just part of it. I tend to think I'm just part of it. But I grew up in LA driving around listening to the radio, you know, anything from K-Day to Power 106 to K-Earth 101 to
KLOS
to K-Rock and the, you know, the reggae shows on the weekend, the Rodney on the Rock at, you know, playing the punk bands from England, whatever. I had it all. It's all there. You know what I mean? I went to high school in LA, Hamilton High School, that was like 50% African American, 50% white high school, and there was a lot of hip hop going on. And even though I went there because I played guitar and there was a jazz program, I just fell in with the hip hop crowd, skateboarding and stuff. And so some of the first records I made were in my parents' garage with an MPC, just because I was inspired by anything that was kind of fertile and happening. Like these dudes were rapping and it sounded dope, and we just got in and they knew I had like a sense of music and I could, you know, make something out of it. And we started making records, and then, you know, whatever, I met someone else and they were doing that and kind of took that on as a challenge. And before I knew it, I had like this kind of bizarre discography, you know.
Did it force the engineering part out early so you could make your records and start to create and get your process down?
Yeah, well, you know, I started engineering, if that's what you call it, and
I'm with you. I know it.
I mean, I never went into like any formal training, which which, you know, I recommend. I work with engineers with a lot of formal training, Dave Schiffman, other, you know, legendary dudes. Just, you know, there is a technical side to it for sure, but I was having a problem when you talk about the Hippos. It was like the first band I had when I was 15 years old, and I remember recording it and it not sounding anything like what was in my head. So I kind of devoted some time into figuring out that's it. That's like engineering and producing. That's an art form, is how to get what is in your head onto how to express yourself through recorded music. It's not always easy. And sometimes the accidents, you know, are the best thing about it. I don't think Wu-Tang Clan had a lot of like proper training, but they made some amazing records, you know.
In today's world, can a producer not know how to engineer? Engineering is part of producing now, isn't it? Isn't it part of your skill set, wouldn't you say?
It is, but you know, I do collaborate, you know. For me, I think it's really important to kind of understand the rules, or not the rules, but to have the education of how like some of these amazing records were made, and like the foundation of like recorded music and the science behind it, and like before you can break them, you know what I mean? That's what I like to do. I like to go into proper tracking facilities. You know, I have sort of a makeshift proper tracking facility of my own, but also a lot of the classic studios have their purpose for sure.
Yeah.
Great live performances. You can't beat that. If you have a room that sounds good and the band's in there and you're moving mics around in the room to where it sounds good in the room, and musicians are finding their place in the room and they get inspired and lay down an amazing performance, that's the beginning of it, you know? Like every great record, whether it's a rap record, rock record, whatever, it all starts with a great performance, you know? Even if it's a programmed track, the delivery of the vocal, you know, is, I mean, working with Snoop, working with Usher, you know, these not necessarily, I mean, I wouldn't say that about Usher, but with Snoop, they're not necessarily musician-based tracks, you know, but like the vocal delivery is everything, you know, and it's really important. It's really important to be able to have a good performance space and know how to capture a performance before you throw it into, you know, Pro Tools and start playing with the future of music, sound, stuff.
On the Haim album, which I think is some of your best work, I hear a lot of you in that. I hear a lot of experimenting on that record, which just is where my heart's at.
Yeah.
And is it hard as a producer to know that you're hired for a certain reason? You're hired to make a record that you have to turn into somebody whose opinions are different than yours. Trying to experiment and keep that reined in under budget, was that tough?
It is tough, you know? And so setting up an environment that allows for that is the first order of business, you know what I mean? Kind of figuring out where you can move into and experiment and really get these ideas out before you go spending all your budget like in a expensive studio and, you know, don't have time to actually experiment with it. I mean, it depends on the goal of the record, and with that record, very much the goal was experimenting, you know. Had a band that was really well known for its live performances. They're insane musicians, grew up their whole lives playing together, like their parents are musicians. They were like...
One of the girls has a degree in musicology, doesn't she?
That's right, the SD, sick bass player. And like the singer, Danielle, she's a sick drummer. She plays drums when we record, you know, so they're awesome musicians. So there's that side of them, but then there was also kind of a really similar influence growing up by LA radio. I can't speak, I'm sure it's the same in other cities, but I'm just speaking from my own experience, like very influenced by a variety of genres, and they wanted to get into that. Despite the fact that they were signed for being this like awesome rock band, they wanted to make sure that they were dipping their toes in all of the things that inspire them and make a record that, you know, has that sort of cross-section.
And the label supported that? You didn't have a lot of interference, or did you have to navigate it?
You got to navigate it.
Yeah, of course.
You know, everyone was supportive to a degree, but, you know, like, but you definitely have to navigate it.
Yeah.
Lucky for us, the label was in England, so...
So they didn't know.
We were just kind of like, oh, they're calling, decline. You know.
I know when you're on the stage sometimes it's hard to recall everything, but is there one moment where you were doing an odd percussion part on that record that you can share with us that might be interesting?
For the Haim record?
Yeah. Did you have a table full of percussion and you just would grab it and try it? And
you know, my space, my recording space is like a nut house. It's like rototoms and like synthesizers. A lot of like synthesizers that we end up kind of dialing in like percussion tones with it, you know.
Oh, okay.
But we did a lot of setting up we did like, what we would do is we did chunks of time in like a performance space like Sunset Sound or Vox Studios, and we would set up, and they're all drummers too. It's crazy. The band, like, they really, you know, and we set up drums with funky tunings. We recorded on tape, VSO'd up, so that when we played it back, it was pitched down, and you know, it's like you don't really hear an effect, but it just creates sort of subconsciously like a sick sound. It kind of like makes your ears perk up, you know. We played around a lot with like playing with the VSO while they were playing drums and pitching the drums up and down, kind of creating synthetic sounds with. You know
what? Some of you guys, how many people don't know what a VSO is?
Yeah, no one knows that.
Well, in the old days, tape machines were recorded, or the speed were controlled by an oscillator. So a variable speed oscillator to control the machine is a way to control the speed in between 15, 7, and 30. So that's what he's talking about.
It's pitching it up and down ultimately at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Speeds the recording up, slows, but when you play it back, you play it at normal speed. So drums were either pitched up or pitched down. You know, we did that trick with vocals. We were doing a lot of tricks that, you know, you do in the, you know, software, but on tape. For fun, you know. I mean, it could say that it sounds better that way. It just sounds different, you know. A lot of people are doing stuff with the computer, so we were doing it on tape because, you know, just try something different.
On the Snoop Lion record, was from his perspective, was that about pushing his boundaries and taking some other places, getting the reggae influence?
I think it was. I mean, I think, you know, that situation was kind of, I mean, the ultimate experiment. I had no idea what I was in for. I got a call asking if I wanted to go to Jamaica with Snoop Dogg to see about making a reggae record. So
you're like,
yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I had no idea what we were going to do, and we got there, and they're like, all right, so when we leave here, we're kind of hoping to have about 15 to 17 songs. We're going to need some bonus tracks, this, that, the other. I'm like, okay, what songs are you talking about?
Right.
You know, so it was like, oh shit, you know. So we just kind of hit the ground running, just playing around with stuff, and that record really was about the journey. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of revising. We just did it, and it was done.
It was what it was.
Yeah, it was what it was. It was kind of 3.5 weeks in Jamaica, and the experience, and yeah.
And then how long was your detox period after you came back? About
Next question.
Okay.
Ariel, I guess I should just say I love a lot of your quotes. I've been reading them over the last 2 or 3 months because I find inspiration in the way other people work and think. And I'm gonna read this to you because I think our audience should know this. As long as you're thorough and committed, you can usually work through it, meaning any obstacle, any problem, and at least complete a song. Whether or not it makes the record is a matter of enthusiasm or taste. I love that quote. It's deceptively deep. Because you're not always striving to make a hit record. You're just striving to make a great record within the time and allotment of money and everything else.
That's right. I mean, I was semi-fortunate to come up in a time period where budgets were going down and people had to like figure out other ways to do it, and so I kind of came up figuring out how to have a space, and using, you know, tools like Pro Tools made that a lot easier, or possible for that matter, to like allow to experiment, you know, to not run out of money when money was kind of going away. I don't think money should get in the way of making great music, but yeah, the idea is to make great music, and at the end of the day you kind of survey it and see what works, what if it kind of moves you, it's going to move other people, you know, and And I've seen it happen. Songs that you wouldn't expect to make it on the radio, and kind of changing things momentarily, and then it becomes the norm, you know? First time I heard Nirvana, it sounded unlike anything I'd ever heard, let alone on the radio. And at this point, it's kind of like almost, it's normal sounding. It's really weird, you know what I mean? Like, things change, and they change music forever. Hip-hop is another great example of that, you know? But
don't you think, see, I think trust is a big part of the process,
absolutely.
Right?
It's the most important part.
I think so too, and I think it's a couple of things. I think, well, obviously there's a trust between you and the artist, or maybe you and the collaborators, because I would imagine as diverse you are, you got to have a diverse set of songwriters to participate with you. But I also think trusting your gut is really critical. I think for our audience, knowing that you want to rely on your instinct and take that challenge to be different is something that you got to get over the fear of, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, like, it's all fine and dandy until someone comes in and makes you second guess yourself, you know, and then that's a challenge to overcome that sort of second guessing. But really, yeah, you got to trust yourself, you got to believe in yourself, you got to be bold and just do it and see what happens. And I would rather fall flat on my face with something that, like, people hate than make something that sounds safe, you know, and kind of is like sort of like boring. Yeah. You know?
First of all, a round of applause for an absolute trailblazer, Ariel Rechtshaid.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Another round of applause for the Avid family and what they're doing for us. Vivid. Thank you, Anthony Gordon. Thank you, all the folks. A personal shout out to Team Pensado for great work. You're moving around. Give them a shout. And as we usually do on our show, Dave, take us home.
Whew, I don't know what to say. I had as much fun talking to Ariel as I have reading about him over the last 6 or 7 months. The Plain White Tees song that he did, Delilah, that was the first time I heard of him, and I knew there was something special going on. If you want to learn from the best, and the best is sitting right here to my left. Hey guys, it's fun. If you can come back, I'd like to see you again, all right?
Thanks, everybody. How about my partner, Dave Pensado?
Thanks. Thanks, man.
How about our guest, François Tétaz?
Yes.
François is a friend of the show. He did our Gear Expo, if you guys came to that. He is incredibly cerebral, incredibly talented, and his Avid DNA runs so far that his brother is head of Avid Australia. So this boy has got a big A all over him, absolutely.
Yeah, Avid have been a big supporter, they have, but yeah, my brother for many years, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, great to see you, François.
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, it's our pleasure. So what you been up to?
I've spent a lot of time writing recently, which has been a lot of fun, and I've been working on trying to finding a couple of new projects that are kind of, you know, different and unique and odd and all that kind of stuff.
Are you looking for talent, or is it just projects or records?
No, it's talent and projects, so it's anything like that. I just always searching for, try and find things that are new and different. And I've just completed one project, which is a guy called, he goes under the name Lo Fang, and his record comes out end of February.
Nice.
He's only just started playing, and that's the main project. I spent about 6 months working with him.
Wow.
And I think it's good. I hope people like it. Yeah.
What's it called?
The project's called Lo Fang.
Oh, okay.
Lofang. Yeah. And he's going on tour with Lord. So he's doing the Lord support in America, so you can catch him before that show.
I'm remiss if I didn't tell you that obviously François was integral to the Gaudier success, partnered with Wally, and Prince called it his favorite song. You won the Grammy last year, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you're talking about a groundbreaking record, a transparent of talent here, and one that just happens to be a nice guy. Remember, when you get there and you get successful, don't become an ass. Really, the people at the top are usually the nicest guys. The guys in the middle are the guys you have to mess with, don't you think?
Yeah, that's true.
Is that right?
Well, not this room, but yeah.
Exactly. So, Chocolate Factory, ask about that.
Well, first of all, let me go back a little bit. Everything in François' life is just weird as hell. The man designed speakers because he worked on a dairy farm and he wanted to entertain his cows. Herb alluded to the fact that he wanted a mastering company, so he built his own mastering company.
In a chocolate factory.
In a chocolate factory.
Yeah.
His brother Charles is very talented, but every time I read your story, I'm like, how the hell did this guy get from here to here?
Yeah, I have no idea, Dave. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Why would you build speakers? And by the way, do cows like low end? Do they like high end?
They love Beethoven. They love, Mozart. They love anything, really, yeah. Low end. Well, it kind of rolls off when you get away from the speaker. It's just kind of a bit of a howl in the distance. But
I got a feeling that if your cows listened to my mixes, they'd stop producing milk.
Where the hell is this going? I'm not sure.
With Herb's singing, they'd produce chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, cross the line, cross the line.
NAACP to the stage, please.
Yeah, Australia. Australia's in an environment that's like that. It's quite eclectic, in that you kind of have to learn a lot of different skills from a lot of different areas when you're working on things. So, there isn't necessarily the person, it's not a big population, not a big industry there. So when you need to do something, or quite often you need to learn about it, or you just need to get the skills. So a lot of the skills that I've gained have really become out of, I don't know anyone who does that, so I'm just going to learn about it and then sort of do it, and then practice and get better at it. So you end up gaining all these skills in different areas, and that's what happened for me. Like, it's the reason why it looks really weird. So, I suppose, I don't know. I just haven't really stuck at one thing.
You fed me a straight line, but I'm not going to use it. I'm fascinated by successful people like yourself, their influences, because I don't really do anything original. I just picked good influences. You and I both had Trevor Horn as an influence, and I idolized Trevor. I moved to England to work for him. It didn't work out, but how important are influences that, in terms of them getting you from the cow farm to Gautier? And how does that work? How do you assimilate an influence to turn out the work you turn out? Because I had the same influences, but I'm different.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I gave up on the idea of being cool or being into cool music when I was younger, and I tried to go with just things that I liked, and that was difficult because I found when I actually looked at songs or looked at music, I liked all sorts of, it's kind of like, when you first start learning about music and you first listen, you don't really have an idea of genre really, or you're like my kids, they interact with music, they just hear something and they'll like it and they're like, oh, I love this, or they don't really get anything else about it. And so I found when I turned off that kind of filter of like genre or anything, and I was just very open to music and how it spoke, and then it led me to making different decisions in my work. It meant that instead of saying I was necessarily chasing an influence that was maybe right in front of you, maybe something that's popular right now, or charting or whatever it may be, I didn't look at that. I was then looking at the idea, I was looking at the metaphor, I was looking at what was behind the music, and then it's kind of become more about ideas, whether it's sonic ideas or language or whatever, rather than being direct influence. So then that also widened up all my music. I then listened to anything. Like, I never listened to country when I was a kid, but I had a friend who was a big country fan and got introduced to, Waylon Jennings and, like 60s country and left protest country, which I'd never come across. And then, just went, oh my God, I love where this comes from and I love the instrument, So.
I just got a notice from the building. Can I get you to scoot near me?
Sure.
We're about to have a problem that we have to fix right here. So, don't get scared.
I'm scared. What the heck are you talking about?
Well, I just got noticed there's a problem. There's been a nuclear warning because if you want your shit to blow up, you really want a special guest who's stopping through to say hello. Put your hands together for one of the most incredible mixers in the world, if you don't mind him coming up with us. Do you mind?
Yeah.
Okay. Put your hands together for the incredible Manny Marroquin.
Oh, yeah.
Manny, Manolo.
I always say Manny is the nuclear option. If you want your records to blow up, you want to get Manny. Bruno Mars,
hey,
Fun, Alicia Keys, John Mayer, just an insanely talented guy.
Oh, you forgot Dave Pensado's buddy.
Yeah, I forgot that. Oh. Another example of a great guy who's at the top, We get to have friendly people who join us. We've just worked out a cool arrangement between us. Should I talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things that Manny is a partner in one of the there's 3 or 4 legendary studios in LA, and one of them is Larrabee. And Manny is part owner of Larrabee, and we wanted to do something different. So we created, between Pensado's Place and Larrabee, what we call a studio media partner. So we're going to shoot a lot of things over there, do a lot of stuff over there, work some things out, maybe give you guys an opportunity to see. This is an incredible studio, a beautiful studio. Dave was in there for many, many years.
Of my 25 years in LA, I've been at Larrabee 20.
So Manny is graced us with stopping by. How are you, brother?
Yes, thank you for having me, of course. And what a great looking crowd, yeah? Give it up for Pensado, come on. And sorry for crashing. I just wanted to say a quick hello, congratulations, and this is the perfect opportunity to say how incredible the show is for everybody, right?
Oh, thanks,
I mean, everywhere you go, it's like, man, without Pensado's Plays, what would happen? So we always remind you guys of what a great job you guys are doing.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, man.
I'm gonna keep saying it. This is the perfect platform because I think we all learn every week, right? I mean, it gets us talking about it, you know, and something we haven't had. I didn't have it when I was
No, not at all.
So congrats again on the show. And
it's because of you guys and coming to the show and sponsors like we have and all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you a funny Pensado story. It's 1:30 in the morning. I need cough drops. I'm in the AM PM on Harbor Boulevard, and a group of guys come in, and they are just Pensado placing back. They're talking about the show, and they're doing this, that, and the other. So, you know, it's hard for me to hide. I'm a big guy, so I try to get in the corner, and I'm listening, and they're talking. And not all of it was good. No, most of it.
Oh, they didn't like it?
It's global, too. It's all over the world, by the way. It's not only in our city, in L.A. or New York. I mean, it's global.
We're humbled. We're humbled.
Taking over the world.
So, Manny, what's on your agenda? What are you doing, man?
I'm just here. I'm doing a thing at Waves at 3 p.m. with my plugins.
Hold on. Manny's got 6 plugins. 2 of them I hadn't figured out yet. I'm not smart enough.
Oh, yeah.
But the other 4 I use every day. And did you get the presets I sent you? Isn't that kind of neat?
I've been using them. Yeah, thank you.
His delay is very usable. Everything Manny makes is musical. His distortion is incredibly musical. His EQ. You know what, Manny? Take a second and explain how you put together the EQ, because I know, and it's very, very unique concept.
So in my room, I got a ton of gear, and if I ever want to go to my top end, I know that this EQ will get me that. If I want to go to my chest, I know that this will be it. And I have we have different tools, different colors. So when Waves came to me, they said, look, we want to make a Signature Series plugin. And I thought, you know, it's all my peers, which I love all of them. They've done a great job doing them. But I wanted to do something slightly different. So the concept of the EQ was like, look, if I want 12K, I go to this piece. So instead of doing that whole EQ, we just chose that frequency, and that's what 16K is. There's an API, there's a 1073, there's a Motown, there's Avalon. So every band is a different EQ for my room.
Isn't that a great idea?
So it's like a super EQ for me.
It's a great idea, and they're very affordable. His reverb, there's a reverb. We don't need to say the name, but there's a reverb that we love, and I think you got yours before me. Then I got mine, but we love this reverb. It's hard to get. It's very expensive. It's a combination of that and other things. Manny would never just copy a reverb, but I use your reverb all the time. Yeah. My 2016 is on the blink, so I use it for a substitute 2016 a lot. I didn't know your taste range was as wide as it is now.
Amazing. Both of them.
The breadth of your work now is humbling. I mean, the Linkin Park record you did, spectacular. Everything from, I mean, dude, what's up with this?
You know,
can you leave a little bit for the rest of us?
I always say, the thing you can't do as a creator is discriminate against music, right? You can't do that because you shoot yourself in the foot. So I've always been open-minded. I went to music school my whole life, whether it was classical, jazz, and I'm just a music fan.
Yeah.
First and foremost, and luckily I haven't lost that. I'm just a music fan. Like this morning, I'm listening to. Every morning I listen to something new, and just because I enjoy it, and I think that helps me whenever I'm working on Imagine Dragons, which is pop and rock and hip hop. It's everything. It just reminds me of something that I would be a fan of, and that perception of what that would be or means to me is, I think, why they say, oh, that's different. I would have not done it that way. And it's just being a music fan. That really is. That's, I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I think we're both like music
I'm an
fanatics.
advocate for the audience. I always think that, you know, if I'm there for the audience, like I'm trying to get out what I'd like to hear in that way, you know, as a thing. It's like if it went with 3, and it's like that. I think also it's a kid fascination thing. Like I always feel like I'm kind of 15 in a kind of sense with that stuff. Like you make decisions that not necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, you don't make sense, or you wouldn't think this is a good idea, but you just think, oh, I want to hear this as a, you know, if you can get caught away with that, and off you go.
Dave, take us home.
Whew. You know what? The coolest thing about what I do for a living is to hang out with guys that do what I do for a living. Sometimes I get a little jealous. Sometimes I get a little angry. Sometimes I'm inspired. Sometimes at 4 in the morning I have to work harder to keep up. But all of those things are part of friendship, and it's a natural thing. And I'm blessed to have great friends like the guys to my left, all 3 of them. Okay? Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. And it's also really important to bring on an absolute superstar, an artist, somebody that we are glad has arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the incomparable Macy Gray.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
So all this started because, which we'll talk about in a second, we got a call from Macy's management. Macy's making a new record, wanted Dave to mix it, and they have a relationship that goes back a ways. And Dave called me so excited about her record, like just insane. And she dug what we were doing, and we wanted to be supportive, and we said, Macy, can we lean on you? And you said yes, and we thank you so much for that. Correct, Dave?
Yeah.
First question from you, sir.
Man, I don't have any questions, but I just want to tell Macy how much I love her. And what I respect and love about Macy is Macy don't give a shit about nothing except making great records. And any question you're about to ask me in the future, just use that as your answer. It works so perfect, right, sweetheart?
Yeah.
I got a question for you. You must have an amazing memory, because describe to the folks the way you write a song. I think that's the most beautiful thing ever, and purity of heart and everything.
Oh,
The creative process.
Usually, once I get the music done, then I just go in the studio and then I write it as I sing it. You know what I mean?
She
So
doesn't write the lyrics down. Wow. She memorizes them and composes in her head with the music, and then sings them.
Yeah, like right on so it's off the top of your head, you know.
Gotcha.
It's more
That is
immediate,
amazing.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
I can't remember my birthday.
So it feels fresher, it's more immediate. You're capturing the process, it moves along. That's more natural for you.
Well, yeah, just so it's right there, you know. It's like what you're into at that moment, instead of trying to think it all out or
Gotcha.
overthinking. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. One of the things that's always been amazing about your career is that there's so many different things you do well. Like there's this thing called being a hyphenate, where you have all these different things. So you're a singer, you're a songwriter, you're a producer, you're an actress, you're an educator, you're a businesswoman, you're a mom, right?
Yeah.
And juggling all that stuff, does that keep your creative process flowing?
No, I'm usually only creative when I'm in the studio. when I'm not there, there's a million things going on, you know. So,
yeah.
I usually just write in the studio, really. Yep.
Macy, I know you're gonna hit me when we're done, but I was reading about you. I thought I knew everything about you, but I don't. And then I read about your skills with poker. You finished 3rd place in a big poker contest.
Sure did.
Is there, what that says to me is that you must have an incredible memory and mind for, poker's hard to play, guys. And How is there a correlation between the skill that you write these great lyrics and melodies and poker? Do they come from the same place, or am I just wasting my time with this question? Help me out, Macy. I'm dying here.
I don't think so.
Oh gosh. Thanks, Mace.
I don't think so.
So
I'm impressed by that, by the poker thing. I really am.
Impressive.
And you didn't know poker before you started.
Oh, no, I started playing like maybe 4 years ago. Maybe, I think. It's been a minute.
Wow.
I'm not that bad at it. I'm not great though.
are there any, collaboration is always such a personal process. We have to work with somebody. Are there any dream collaborations that you haven't had yet that you'd like to do? Anybody you really want to work with that hasn't happened yet?
Let me think. Yeah, there's tons of people. There's so many new artists out now, and I think the magic is finding someone who like you do something with them and you get something that no one's ever heard before. You know what I mean? Because you can go in the studio with a lot of people, but I think it's that thing like tomorrow at the Grammys, like Radioactive and Kendrick Lamar are doing a show together. You know what I mean? So it needs something like that would just be totally unexpected, but it would work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but there's tons of people I'd love to work with because everybody has their own thing to offer. It's just a matter of what kind of record you're making and what you want to say. Yeah.
Macy, I love the last record with the covers and stuff. I love the I think it was the My Chemical Romance song. Was it called Teenagers? Was that the song?
Yeah.
That's my favorite song on the record.
Okay.
Your version of that's better than the original, and I love the original.
Well, thank you.
Take me through the record we're working on now. It feels like you're coming from a creative space that's really deep within. Can you kind of explain what this new record means to you?
It's just about what is it about? It's just about life, everyone, once you get past like 28, maybe, 28, then you start to, you get ideas on what true love is about, and you start, you really got to get your hustle on because you're almost 30, so you start learning more about life and
That's right.
relationships. It's just about someone who, I just grew up a little bit, and so this record is for, speaking to people like me who just grew up a couple years ago. And so it's different, my mother was telling me, like, once you hit 40, then you have this, you get a stride, you finally get an idea of what you're doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because you think you have it at 20, then you think you have it at 30, but you don't. So anyway, it's me thinking that I know what I'm doing finally, and so that's what the record is about. And there's lots of songs about, there's love songs, and there's, what else?
Well, it's love songs.
There's a song called, the lead single is called Stoned.
Ooh, we kill Stone.
Yeah, Stoned is good. Stoned is about, like, my man didn't come home last night, so I got stoned out of my mind, So, but it's an awesome
you
song.
guys know a lot about.
Yeah, no.
Because I could smell it in the hotel last night all night.
I know, right? So Dave did this awesome mix.
Oh, thanks,
made it
Miss.
100 times bigger than it was already, and so there's songs like that, things that we all can relate to, you know what I mean?
One of the things about the new record that I like is when I used to go on vacation with my family, and we'd come back, Mom would take all the photographs of that vacation and put them in an album. And that album, when I look at them 20 years later, I know what I did that summer. And my sister caught me with peeing on the tree in the background and stuff. One of the things about this record that I like is it's an album. It's like a photographic album, but instead of being assembled with photographs, it's assembled with songs.
Yeah.
And the thing I love about you, among many things, is you write from life experiences. Your albums, with the exception of the covers record, even though the covered record reflects a lot of your taste, which in a way reflects you, nobody's as honest as you, as vulnerable as you, and that's what music is designed to do. It soothes the savage beast inside us all. So great record. If this isn't your best record, I might have to change careers.
Well, don't do that. Thank you.
We need him, right?
I know, right?
Yeah. One of the things that I think is so great about you from the beginning, and you know, to sit up and just tell an artist they're wonderful is not really our job. One of the things that we respect so much about you is that you're just fearless. Like when it's time. Was Training Day your first acting experience? So if you guys have ever seen Training Day and seen her in that, that's the first thing she ever did as an actress. You got to give her a round of applause for that. Because I'm telling you, that scene leaps off the screen when they come in there. Macy knew they weren't coming in there for the right shit. They knew that they was going to take her money. And she was just, so she's holding her own with Denzel Washington, other people as the first instance. And I know Antoine had something to do with it. But your ability to step out over the line and just bring your soul and bring your spirit is really what inspires us to continue behind you. So just know that we so appreciate that. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, exactly. That didn't sound enthusiastic. Yeah, of course, I'm formulating a question, but I'm trying to figure out, when you first came to LA, you were at USC Film School. You had enrolled to, Macy's a very intelligent woman. Her mom teaches math. I think that's where your poker skills come from. I always blame mom for that. Is that something you want to pursue? Are you working on a play now or anything? Are you pursuing that?
Oh yeah, I'm working on I'm writing a musical.
Really?
I'm almost done with that, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I write all the time. I just I'm really interested in making movies one day, but so far it's just been most focused on music and.
Sounds cool. And go ahead.
When you're expressing yourself as an actress, does it feel the same as expressing yourself musically, or are they two different processes for you?
No, they're totally different. Music is more in the moment, you know. You have to be in it to really pull it off.
Yeah.
And you do also with acting, but it's more
preparation, kind of.
It's just a longer, more collaborative process. You know, your performance depends on a lot of different things. You know, the lighting, the director, the catering. You know what I mean? Whereas music is just you and the track or the band, and that's all you get.
It's almost more personal music, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot more raw. It's not so fixed up and edited. You know what I mean? As movies are.
I don't know where I heard this, but have you been DJing lately?
Not in a while, but I do DJ.
You like that?
I do got a couple skills, yeah.
I wish I could DJ. It looks like so much fun.
Yeah.
I actually bought a 1200 and I got my turntable. I got everything because I want to do old school DJing, and I suck at it. But anyway,
it's okay.
Are you going to be doing it more of it?
Yeah. I've just found that most DJs make really great music. You know, like case in point, why there's so many DJs that are artists now, but you know, like Dr. Dre was a DJ. Who else? Pharrell used to DJ. Like a lot of the really great producers, you know, started off as DJs, and I think it's a good way to learn how to craft music and just access all the, you know, a lot of different records that have been made and different sounds that you may not have been paying attention to when you heard it on the radio. So it's just a cool way to start out, you know, in music, I think.
One of the most inspirational things about you, I'd love for you to share it with our audience, because a lot of these people want to be you and they don't know quite where to start. Can you share how you started? Like, don't go too far back, but like maybe start at USC when you first started USC and take us to when she was at USC. Nobody knew Macy Gray, and just kind of explain how you got going.
Okay, so all right. So I was there for film school, but film school we shared kind of the same, social area as the music school kids. So we all kind of hung out. Plus, we would use the music school kids for our soundtracks for the little movies we had to make. So anyway, I met this guy, and he was really cute, and he had a little 4-track. This is how old I am. He had a 4-track in his dorm room, and so I used to hang out with him. I used to say, I was really interested in writing just so I could hang out with him. So
there's a thread going through your life there.
Yeah. A lot of people do that.
So we'd be in his room, and all of a sudden I'm writing lyrics for these songs he has. And then, if you want to tell someone how a song goes, you have to sing it to him first. So he had a singer that would come in and record, but first I had to sing to him the melody and the lyrics and stuff. So we had all these tapes with my voice on it. And then one of his friends heard my tape, and he had a jazz band that had a gig at the Ramada Inn every Sunday for brunch, and it paid $100. And so he goes, I need a singer for this Sunday. Can you do it? So I all of a sudden I'm singing on Sundays. For $100, but that's really that was how I was introduced to it, and then the more I did it, it just grew on me. I kind of fell in love with it. Then I joined a band, and we used to. It was like a rock band, and we played the Strip. We did the Roxy and the Whiskey. We did all that stuff. We used to do the Mint. I don't know if you guys are all from here, but you know how you go out and you see on the stop sign they have the little band stickers and stuff like that? That was me. So then, so we would have, we were really unpopular. My friend and my guitar player's friend would show up. So then, one show we were at the Roxy, there were exactly 8 people there, and one of the guys in the audience was a guy by the name of Tom Carolan. He was A&R at Atlantic at the time, and he signed me shortly after, so that was my first record deal. And we made this, it was like a rock album. It was pretty cool, but then I got pregnant, and then all of a sudden my record wasn't coming out. So I was out on my own again, and then 2 years later I got signed to Epic, and then that's when I made my first record.
That's the record with I Try on it, right?
Yeah, we had written I Try, after I got dropped from Atlantic, and it was on the new demo tape.
That's
and then
so
the
cool.
game changed, didn't it?
I mean, doesn't that give you hope? Come on.
Yeah, that should be hope.
It's always a journey, guys.
I love that
For
story.
all of us, it's always a journey. Any questions out there for Macy? Anybody got a question? If you do, there we go.
Macy. Oh.
Speak up.
Hey, Macy. Saw you years ago. I won't go as far back as we want to go. Opening up for Dave Matthews at UNLV Stadium. And I got to say, your performance and what you and your band brought to the table changed my life as a performer, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
My question to you is, I know you're very hands-on with your art, and when you get to the mixing process of mixing your album, how hands-on are you with going back and forth with Dave? And the other end of that is Dave knowing what Macy wants. How do you approach a mix?
Can I answer this, Macy?
Yeah.
I work for this lady.
Right.
I'm an employee. She gives me the freedom to contribute a little bit, but she has the final say. She picks and chooses from my ideas. She comes to the table. If Macy was presenting me with a dish, it'd be perfect. I have to hunt for ways to make it better and earn my money. And sometimes I don't do it perfect. Sometimes I get things right. But when you work with someone like Macy, you don't question things. You just try to understand where she's coming from on this song, and you try to bring the energy out. I've said 100 times I love Macy, and I know her. We've known each other since before she got a record deal, and she has a vulnerability that just speaks to me, you know, and an honesty. So I try to preserve those emotional elements more than anything. And Macy's blessed. She works with a lot of talented people, and very little to do, right, Macy? I just kind of stir it up, put it on the stove, heat it a little bit, you drop by, you make your changes, and we're done, right?
No, actually,
Not
really
quite.
not true. Actually, everyone's really intimidated to give him notes because he's Dave Pensado, so everyone's kind of like, I just don't want to tell him that I don't like the drums. That's really how it is. He's been
What's wrong with a damn
extra
drum?
modest. I know. No, usually most of the time we get it done as perfect. You know, there's a couple, you know, sometimes you want this turned up, but it's really, when you hear Dave's mix, it's really him. He actually, even the song Stones, you put that like, you put like a little bottom drum on it that we didn't have there, and he's really an exciting mixer, and he's being really modest. I don't know why, but that's not. I was like, I don't want to tell him that I need my vocals louder. Will you tell him? That's really.
I'll tell him.
How do you follow that? Sitting across from Macy just now, I realized the importance of humility. I'm prone to arrogance, and it always gets me in trouble. We just heard the lady say she just works from her heart. She tries to be the best Macy Gray she can be. And if you take anything home tonight, just try to be the best you can be, with humility and love of your craft, love of your art. And we'll look for you on a collaboration with Macy in the future, all right? Hey, but listen, guys, from the bottom of my heart, thanks for coming out. I'm echoing everything Herb said about how much we love you and care about you. Bye-bye.
So I apologize for the Kermit the Frog voice on that second day at some point in time. Too many parties at NAMM, then we had to go to LA for parties for the Grammy, then back to NAMM and all that kind of stuff finally got to me. Hope you enjoyed that. We had a great time. I'd recommend it to you. All you guys who got invitations to the show, we look forward to coming to see you. Our team set up to handle that. NAMM, a good time was had by all, don't you think?
Oh yeah, NAMM for me is about gear and friends, and there were a lot of both. A lot of cool new gear, and got to see some old buddies that I might not get to see. Highly recommend it. Try and get there next year. We'll see you next time.